Hi guys and gals, it's Pete, Mindwiseman's channel, aka Maverick Outdoors, and this is just a short, brief video really. It's a follow-on from a wild camp I did a little while ago that I mentioned about some cash, not in money, as in stored food, kit, equipment you need. And the reason why I keep looking down is because in that hole, there's ground level. In this hole there was a buried box with some stores which I placed there sort of about 3 months ago. It's an ongoing project with sort of like burying stuff that you need, sort of kit, items, essentials, if for emergency you couldn't actually bring stuff with you, or you lost it, or it got absconded, or you just didn't want to take a lot of kit with you because you've got stuff already at a location you're going to get to. But I'll show you what was in that hole, and that's in the box in a moment. I've got two other containers, slightly smaller, all sealed up and placed not quite buried but under a lot of vegetation and hidden away. So it's a good policy not to have all of your cash, all of your stores, bits and pieces that you need buried on site in one location. It's always good to have them spread about. And somewhere around this location here are two other containers that were spread out to add on to some of my buried cash. But as I say, it's an ongoing project where I will source more appropriate containers that might be more sturdy, bigger, and that I can store more stuff in. But obviously, you know, if you're on foot and you're carrying stuff around, it needs to be something that's easy handleable. So here's two of the containers that weren't quite buried but were hidden away under loads of foliage. This was in one place, that was in another, and this container here, you see with the green lid, was the one that was buried in the rectangular hole. But I'll show you what was in the actual oblong box. 9x6 simple poly tarp, paracord. Actually a friend of mine gave me these, so I thought I'd bung them in there. They're like a multivitamin effervescent flavoury sort of tablet, so good to have for a little bit of health backup. Glow stick. Simple candles, I can break them into small bits, melt them down, re-wick them, whatever I need to. But they fit in the box nicely, got them cheap as well, so that's why I got those. Dustbin bag, multi-uses for that. Vitamin tablets, tea bags, corned beef, tin of fruit, tuna, beans and meatballs, piece of material to filter water if I need to, big soup, another big soup, powdered milk, 3 tins of mackerel fillets. So you can see all this stuff, if I need to, doesn't have to be cooked. Nice to have it heated obviously, but I can eat it straight out the tins, emergency if I couldn't sort of procure any fire or what have you. So it's, you know, things, bare essentials to sort of get me by over a couple of days without any problems. Plus I've got a mess tin, and inside that, fastenings, antibacterial, tea tree oil, rubber in a tube, little thermal blanket, you can see there, the old space blanket, well the thin foil blanket, another bit of paracord, small blades that are for crafting knives. There's about 12 in there, got them from the cheap shop, only cost me £1, which I can make them, either use them for sharpening things or make arrowheads out of them, or just anything that needs sort of a blade or a sharp point. Cigarette lighter. Yeah. So I've just opened that out. Little spoon, fork, small little penknife style blade, tin opener, bottle opener, wouldn't really need those, a sort of bradawl device and a corkscrew. Sort of handy to have, not for what they're made for, but just for improvising things. But again, that was from a famous shop that sells things for no more than 99p, and it's stainless steel. And final couple of things, I say cigarette lighter, got some blue tape if I need that, just for convenience, it could fit in there, and also some aqua tabs each tab does about a litre of water. So you know, if I filtered it, didn't get a chance to boil it, but I know it's in reasonably good condition, I can then add a couple of these. It's normally 1 tablet per litre, but I'd add 2 if it's which is normally the spec, if the water's pretty grotty. Okay, I'll open these up and I'll show you what I've got in here. Okay, in this one, sugar. In a container, undo the top there. Plus as well, if this was empty, I could put water in this and use it as a water carrier, providing I take care not to sort of split it. But it's quite sturdy, it's airtight. And inside there, I've got pasta, big bag of pasta, and some rice. So that's all in that container. And in this one, paracetamol, ibuprofen for medication, couscous, and you can see in there I've got just that orange is it's already pre-cooked rice. Long life is about 18 months life in that, best before date, and it's microwavable. Can eat that raw or heat it up. Same there's a Chinese type rice there as well. It's already pre-cooked, all sealed up bag. More couscous down there, and then cooking oil. And again, what I'd do is I'd use that obviously for cooking if it's a survival situation, procuring meat and cooking food, but also it's high in calories, so you know, if the calorie was a bit low from just your normal food, then it would be quite appropriate to use that as well, not just for cooking but also for calories. I would like to reiterate not to drink the oil like with a straw as if it's some sort of like greasy, thick, non-viscosity cocktail, but I think you get my gist. But another all important thing I forgot to say, see those 2 little green things? Dan, dan, dan. Hazelnut chocolate, just always good to have a little thing, a little perky thing to perk you up as a morale booster. So that's the majority of the cache. So as I say, it's an ongoing project. I sort of update the stuff, add things to it, and when my containers change, then so will some of the items that I store or bury or sort of have in the cache. But at least, you know, if I came here in theory, so I came here with nothing at all, just, you know, as I am now, well, of course with my little faithful knife. But even without that, I know the stuff that I've just showed you, I could get by without any problem at all for a good 4 or 5 days, if not for about a week, with procuring other food, wild food that's around, and indefinite really. But obviously that food and those bits and pieces are there. Say if I was to be here for longer and I already brought other kit, then that's obviously going to back me up with stuff that I already bring with me. So that's really the basis behind the cache. But as I say, as I develop it, I'll show you more stuff that I use and that I will actually be adding to some of the storage. I know there's some other items that I could add to it, but so I'm thinking of circumstances, the reasons why I would want to bury it and store it, and really those actually all of the 3 containers would keep me going for, I would say, at least, I've worked it out for about 10 days. Push come to shove, if I'm really hungry, then the stuff will go within sort of 5 to 6 days. But it's just a good idea to sort of have a backup plan. It's just really a sort of a few stages on from thinking, oh, I'll stock up with food that's being sold really cheap, so I'll buy a shed load of it and stick it in the garage or stick it in the loft, or because I was able to get it cheap. Or if you're concerned that food can maybe get a little bit sparse, you know, especially in this day and age, you know, we're talking about coming up to the middle of 2012 now, and you know, there's things going on around different parts of the world, and especially say sort of like Europe, where there's been sort of civil unrest. It could be in the UK as well, but the thing you've got to consider is that where I live in the UK, about 90% of the food that we consume is actually imported, whether or not some of it's processed. So if we import sort of, or just say 50% of the food that we eat is actually made in this country, processed, made into different recipes. But we only actually produce in this country about 10% of the actual food we consume. So going a little bit off of talking about the cash, if you were to just sort of store it domestically, it's really worth it as far as a sort of a prepping mindset as well, of actually having food stored that may get a little bit sparse. Because if you think, if there is any sort of political or industrial unrest in Europe, the ports could close down, the docks will close down. Even if, say, in the UK, we're an island and we've got, you know, stuff's got across the water, and a lot of it is actually carried via tankers and on the waterways. But if the ports did close down and there was strike action, industrial action, or people are losing their jobs, that sort of thing, in the UK especially, there's going to be a problem with importing food. So learn how to forage, know how to make nettle tea, nettle soup, cleaver stew, and how to hunt rabbits and pigeon in your back garden. But anyway, on that note, I'll leave you with that idea to think about, and say thanks for watching. Hope you got some ideas, maybe giving you some ideas with sort of your own storage of food and putting it somewhere where you go and wild camp, or you go outside, outdoors in it for a while. And I'll catch up with another video soon, so take care, cheers.